Hey everyone, what's going on? I I just had to share some of this stuff before I lose my train of thought. It's like 4:30 in the morning, but when I got off work earlier tonight, I noticed I had a letter in the mail, and it's funny because it came from the Catholic church in town, and I haven't went to that Catholic church since I was in ninth grade or whatever. I got confirmed in eighth grade, and I talked about how the one of the priests was a child molester. There's always been this inside joke that he molested me and he did some weird stuff to me when I was a kid, like come up behind me and rub my shoulders and he put his dick in my back and said, "Guess who?" and all kinds of stuff. And turns out he really was a child molester and he got kicked out of the church after 35 years. And his name in Gematria equals 87. The word priest equals 87. And so whatever. That was in eighth grade, and I haven't really went to that church since probably ninth grade. Maybe I think I went to a Christmas one year, like 10 years ago or something. And other than that, I've really only been there for funerals. And I get this letter in the mail, and I thought possibly they just sent it to the whole town, but the address label literally has my name written, like handwritten in. And I know it wouldn't be my parents that would have did this or whatever. They know my stance that I'm not going back to church, and they know that I will own them if they ever ask me anything about it, try to tell me that I need to go to church or whatever. So it's not, I don't know. It's just weird. Maybe they went through their old directory or something, and my name was in there, and they knew I still lived in town, so they got my address and wrote it in. I don't know. It's just funny that I get this letter from the Catholic Church, and the funny part about it is, so they have this return to sender thing on here because they didn't write my address in here correctly. On this address label, it never had my number, the house number or whatever. And what really sticks out to me is that they wrote in the wrong number anyway. So they wrote in 316, but my number's actually 306. And 316 is super important because Jesus Christ in Hebrew Gematria equals 316. Just think about John 3:16. And lately I've been covering a whole bunch of stuff that's connected to 316. The death of Charles Manson was all about 316. Talked about some synchronicity just last night in regards to Kid Rock and the flag, and Kid Rock equals 316. Later on in this video, I'm going to talk about something that happened while when I was making this blog post. I was listening to the Gematria Effect, and what I'm going to talk about stems back to the movie Oblivion, where 2017 is where the final Super Bowl is played and whatever else. But Tom Cruise's real name, Thomas Mapother, whatever it is, the fifth or whatever his full name is, that also equals 316 in Gematria. And I even had some weird synchronicity stuff. One night making a blog post about him, I was telling my girlfriend was talking about getting an area rug and ripping up the carpet in our room over here. And it was just the stupidest idea ever. And I got on Yahoo.com, and the first thing that came up in the trending articles was area rugs, and area rugs equal 316. And I was talking about something to do with Tom Cruise in the movie Oblivion. So just interesting that they return it, then they write in my number, and they write in the wrong number, and they write in 316, which is super important to Jesus Christ. And think about that in regards to the church and whatnot. And so I'm reading this letter, and basically the whole letter is about how there's less and less priests, and there's all these priests are retiring, and there's only six priests for whatever. There's just less priests, and they're worried about they want to get the church going again, and only 25% of the church is filled up, and it's mostly people with gray hair. That's what this article even says, or this letter I got in the mail says. So they're going to have a meeting at the town hall And they're sort of insinuating that the town, they want to, I don't know, renovate the church, or I don't know, maybe build a new church. Maybe I can't figure out what exactly the whole letter entails. But so even the letter is coded. Like, I don't know if it's meant to be coded, but they they mention in the article in this letter that, I don't know if you can see it, but I am told that this summer we will have 6 priests retire and only 1 priest ordained, right? A lot like a 61, which is super important. God equals 61, Jesus 61, Holy Spirit 61, cross, Christian, church, time, right? It's like that huge important number, 6 priests and 1 priest ordained. This I got this letter 61 days after my birthday as well, right? 61 days after my birthday, on my 35th birthday as well, right? It was my 35th birthday. The word Catholic equals 35. And they also talk about, in the article, he talks about how in February, let me find it here. In February, our bishop is going to be retiring. Maybe it's up here. Yeah, our bishop will retire in February 2018. We will receive a new bishop in around 4 to 6 months. Interesting, they don't just write, you know, in about 6 months. He writes 4 to 6 months. Well, the word Catholic in reverse reduced equals 46. And bishop, I'm pretty sure bishop even equals, let's see what bishop equals. Oh, bishop equals 33. Maybe it's parish. Parish equals 35. You know, bishop equals 33, just like priest. And that's even funnier in this article, because later on in the article, they tell you the rural areas of our diocese have 10% of the population, but have 33% of the priests. And remember, in Gematria, priest equals 33. You know? 33% of the priests. It's just hilarious to me. Like, understanding Gematria, then getting this random letter in the mail from the Catholic Church when I haven't even been to the church since I was 15 years old, so probably 20 years. So I looked up the bishop, and I know I talked about him a while back when I was talking about Father Fitzgerald and whatnot, the child molested priest of my town. And then, 2 weeks later or a week later, whatever it was, we got the story about the USS Fitzgerald crash and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then later this year, we got the death of the guy from Spotlight or whatever, the priest in Boston who was covering up all of the stuff, or the cardinal who was covering up the stuff in Boston, where they, in the movie Spotlight, exposed 87 priests. Let's pull up just a 4 thing of gematria here, and I'll just show you really quick. Priest 33, 87. Spotlight exposes the 87 Catholic priests. And I was talking about the 87th episode of South Park that same night. I had some synchronicity, and that episode is about child molested priests, and it's called Red Hot Catholic Love. That equals 87 in gematria, And the priest who supposedly molested me when I was a kid, Howard Fitzgerald. The guy who wrote this article, Father Joel McNeil, equals 87. And his real name, his full name, Joel David McNeil, 87. And he's a priest, right? What are the odds, It's craziness. And so whatever, I talked about this Richard Pates guy, I think somewhere along the lines, or at least I looked him up. Maybe I didn't post anything about him, but he's supposedly retiring in February, so sometime around his birthday. And I noticed that he's from St. Paul, Minnesota, though, which is interesting, as much as I've been talking about the Super Bowl in the Twin Cities and whatnot, in Minneapolis, St. Paul. So I didn't look a whole lot into this story yet, because I had some synchronicity listening to the Gematria Effect, and that's why I haven't even posted the blog post yet. But we'll talk about that now. So whatever, I got this letter with the Catholic Church, but while I was writing up this blog post, I was listening to the Gematria Effect, if I could find it here, and last night, and I haven't even posted the video yet, but last night I was making this video about Jeopardy and how all of these synchronicity things have really ramped up in my life ever since covering Jeopardy last year. And then Zach's house got crashed into after Monograph told him to watch out on Christmas Eve or whatever, and then his house got crashed into on Christmas Eve. And then, of course, like the Vikings and the Colts both lost with 25 points that day, and they were both 8-8, and a bunch of other stuff. But all of these crazy things have been happening ever since I covered Jeopardy, and Zach's house got crashed into. And in April of last year, Monograph made another video, and he was talking about how the number 166 or whatever, and to watch out for the number 166. And Zach talked about on his blog about how I had just made a video talking a whole lot about the number 166. And I was talking about it in regards to all kinds of stuff with the synchronicity with the death of my uncle. And I also pointed out like Big Brother equals 166, Secret Society equals 166. I think World Trade Centers equal 166 or something like that, but a bunch of 166 stuff. And on the blog post, I went and I mentioned how Monograph had made that video 166 days after my birthday as well. And then I left a comment talking about the angel Gabriel, because there's a whole bunch of stuff there's something to do with the angel Gabriel that I kept seeing over and over, and I'll leave some links in the description in regards to that. But in the Bible, the angel Gabriel only talks to Zechariah, Daniel, and then Mary, like because of the birth of Jesus, right? And then just think about that. My name's Dan, and then Zachary K. Hubbard is Zach, so there's Zach, Dan, and I had made a blog post talking about how I wonder if we're going to find a truth seeker named Mary or something along the lines of that, because it would be fitting with all of this angel Gabriel stuff that I keep talking about over and over. And so then, no doubt, some lady calls into the Gematria Effect later that night, and her name is Mary. And she was talking about how, like I said, she was Monograph's new victim, and she was talking about her pet pig. Something about her pet pig. She mentioned it more than once. And I was sitting next to two pink stuffed animal pet pigs that I was supposed to watch for my daughter. My daughter went to bed, and she used to take her stuffed animals and always call them her pets or whatever. And she went to bed and wanted me to watch her pets or whatever, watch my pet pigs. And then this lady calls in and is talking about her pet pigs or whatever. And I'll leave a link to the video, and I'll leave, it's like 50 minutes into my video. But I'm telling you, so tonight the same lady calls in, and the reason I'm even making this video is because just last night in this video that I didn't finish, towards the end of this video, I even bring this story back up, and I talk about how the lady with the pet pig. So I just want to play it really quick so you can hear what I'm talking about, and then I'll explain a little bit more. So here we go. Here, this was a video from last night that I haven't posted yet. In regards to the Super Bowl, Angel Gabriel equals 231, National Anthem equals 231, and in the Bible, the Angel Gabriel only comes to Daniel and also Zechariah and Mary. And I've made videos on this tons of times, but just think about it. Zechariah, Zachary K. Hubbard, I don't know, Zach, Daniel, and I even talked about this lady who called in. to his radio show one night talking about her pet pigs, and I was sitting by two stuffed animal pet pigs that my daughter had told me to watch or whatever, and they were my pets. And yeah, a bunch of stuff, but I had talked about it. Yeah, never mind. I'll find the link and leave it in the description if you really want to listen to it. I mean, you'll understand more of the story that I'm telling and the story that I'm talking about and all these. So, you heard that I talked about the pet pig stuff. I mean, I haven't talked about that lady for a long time, and I randomly brought it up last night in this video that I didn't finish, and I was going to finish it tonight, but it was like late last night, 3-something in the morning, and my girlfriend came downstairs. Alright, sorry. I keep running out of hard drive space. I had to delete a whole bunch of stuff so I could finish this video. But I didn't finish that video last night because it was like 4 in the morning, and my girlfriend came downstairs, started talking to me, and then it was like a half hour later, and then I was just like, whatever, I'll just finish the video up tomorrow after I get off work, and then I'll combine them in Movie Maker or whatever it adds. So I didn't finish it. So it's just interesting that that's one of the last things that I talked about in the video was the stuff about Mary Tofflemire. I didn't mention her name, but that's what I was talking about. And then, she calls in tonight and talks about a whole bunch of stuff, talks about her brother who used to be the center for the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm not even joking, as I'm writing up a blog post about it. Let me pull this up really quick. And also look what her name is in Gematria. I was talking about all the 166s. Mary Tofflemire. 166. And the stuff about Alex Trebek that I was talking about in the previous video, the stuff that I was just getting ready to talk about before the video came to an end was that the story of Alex Trebek having the brain surgery or whatever came 166 days after Alex Trebek's birthday. I mean, a super important number. But look what happened while I was writing up this blog post. So she calls in and she's talking about her brother who's the center for the Seahawks and another center for the Seahawks who died like a year later or something, she said. And when I posted a video clip to explain what I was talking about, it, for whatever the reason, made my blog thing, instead of being left aligned, it became center aligned, And she's talking about the center for the Seahawks, and then all of a sudden, the alignment turns into center alignment, It's just some weird stuff. And I also haven't posted this video yet either, but I literally just posted it earlier before I went to work, and I never published it yet because I wanted to add some links, and I just did that. But I made this video last night about the Cash Me Outside girl, Danielle Brigoli. And if you go back to my old post where I talked about Mary Tofflemire, and let's pull it up because it's already pulled up here. At the very end of this post, I even talk about the How About That Girl, and I left a link to that video. And that was the last video that I just posted, a brand new one about this girl, It's some crazy stuff, and I don't know how to explain it, so that's why sorry, seriously, there's something, I don't know what's going on with the computer, because for some reason it only let me do a 3-minute clip now, or something. Well, now that the picture don't even show it, let's see if I can zoom in or something. Took a screenshot, and it's like the smallest screenshot ever. Like, there's something going on with my computer. What the heck? But so I said I ran out of time. I deleted a whole bunch of videos. Then I started recording another piece to it. And then it got to 3 minutes, and it says max time reached or whatever. Which doesn't make any sense because I paid like $15 for unlimited recording time. So it just doesn't make any sense why I can't record more than 3 minutes. So we'll see if this next clip stops after 3 minutes or what the heck's going on. But anyway, the last thing that I wanted to show was, and this, I can't prove this, I guess, but I looked up her brother. her brother was Joe Tofflemire then, and like she said, he died on the Jesuit anniversary in 2011. But I haven't even looked that much into it. You know, he died age 46. It's connected to Catholic, but what sticks out to me the most is that his middle name is Salvatore or Salvatore or however you say that. And I'm not even joking you. Last night, one of the videos that I wanted to make, and I've been thinking about trying to make it forever, and I just haven't got around to it, is a video about the Salvator Mundi or whatever it is. This picture of Jesus, the one that went for a whole bunch of money, where he's holding the crystal ball. Just wanted to show it here. This picture right here, or whatever. I want to make a video on this for a really long time. I even talked about the angel Gabriel. And I swear to you, last night, if I had more time, I wanted to make this video before I made any other video. And because there's something, I don't know. Out of all my blog posts, this one was like the one that I wanted to make a video on for a long time, and I just keep overlooking it because I run out of time, and then I don't, whatever. I start talking about something new, and then I don't want to lose my train of thought on that. And this was the one I really wanted to come back to. So it's just interesting that that guy's middle name has a connection to the Salvatore. I even talked about, you know, something to do with El Salvador. And that means savior. Salvatore means savior. We just had the earthquake outside of Honduras. Honduras equals 44. Earthquake equals 44. They told us it was 44 miles away from Honduras. You know? So, I don't know. Hopefully tomorrow night I can make a video on this, but I probably... So yeah, it stopped again. But the weirdest thing of all time, I'm just going to end the video here. I made my point. Well, there's something screwy with the computer because I restarted the computer and somehow it's never happened this way, ever. When I restart the computer, I lose every one of my tabs that are opened. But I restarted the computer and somehow when I clicked on this, every one of my tabs is still open. That makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever, because that has never happened ever in the history of me restarting my computer. It has never, ever saved all of the tabs that I've opened. So I just don't get it. So I made my point. There's more I'm going to look into, but there's just some strange synchronicity stuff that goes on all of the time. And I don't know. I'm gonna look more into this lady's brother and whatnot. I wonder if there's got to be something I'm supposed to see with it. You know, my old post, like I said, check out the link in the description and go to about the 50-minute mark. It's about an hour-long video, and I start talking about the synchronicity of the Gematria effect and whatever else. So, whatever. Probably gonna run out of time in like 2 seconds, so peace.